Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Joy and Gratitude. And I am here with my bosom buddy, Miss Beth Mercurio. Tell me what we're doing today.
That reference just made me think of that great TV show from way back when. So I was like, I
Yeah.
had to giggle, put a smile on my face. That ages us, which is a perfect segue into what I thought we could talk about. Nio had mentioned that she had heard on Instagram somebody coined this phrase, or in passing say, why do we call it a midlife crisis? It should be called a midlife calling. And Neo and I can't stop thinking about it and talking about it and want to share this in conversation with all of you today. So we don't know exactly who said it. So if you do, make sure you come onto our podcast and drop it in the comments and share that back with us. But we are going to take that as a launching pad for a conversation around, how do we even come up with the term midlife crisis when, again, there's such negativity in that phrase? And how about we flip that and say it's a midlife calling, and it is an opportunity for us, where we can almost be limitless and thinking about what's possible for us instead of this sort of, now I'm in crisis mode. Like, wait a minute, maybe that's just a signal for us to think a little bit deeper and take some time to think about what this next stage is. So, Neo, when I say all of that, tell me why you were stopped right in your tracks when you heard that.
Because it actually was a realization of how much that time in your life, that midlife, how it's a transition point. And it really is a call to action for you to work on you and to figure yourself out. And I just started thinking about how every year parents are in that mode of they're taking their kids to college for the first time. They're doing weddings. They're doing these transitions, these milestone transitions with their children's. And all of a sudden, they look at each other if they're married, or they look at their friends and they say, now what? And like you said, in the past, everybody says, oh, when somebody starts doing new things, like they start picking up running, they start, doing like crazy vacations, they buy a new car, they do all these things that maybe it's about they're doing what they have been placing on hold
Mm.
for a very long time. Maybe it's not about going back into childhood mentality and being frivolous. It's really about finally having the freedom to be you, the freedom to find your joy, the freedom not to worry about, pickup, not to worry about dropping somebody off at, practice, not to worry about going to every game every single Saturday, sitting in those horrible seats in your very interesting flask. God knows what's in that flask. But anyway, I digress. Maybe it's about freedom. Why do we have to be negative? Why can't we applaud each other that now you have the freedom to be you, whatever that may be?
Wow. I I'm giggling because I have a story that I have to share. And you mentioned college drop off, and it just so happens that I just recently came from a college drop off, and the craziest thing happened that I have to now share. I didn't plan on sharing it, but I'm like, oh, based on what you said, I'm going to share it. So we were dropping off my daughter Lila, and somehow we forgot something. We were in the car and we were about to go do some sort of a shop, to get her settled in. She needed something. But we said, "Oh, we got to go get rid of the garbage." We saw the bins and we're like, "Let's do that." So we hopped out of the car. And the reason I say that is because I left the car door open because it was a 2-minute thing. We're going to run up there, put the garbage and come back into the car. So I left my driver's seat car door open. And we came back, and as we're coming back around, Lila just started screaming and was like, "Oh my God, there's a bird in the car. There's a bird in the car." Now, that reaction comes partly because Lila really does not like birds. For whatever reason, she has had like a kind of a fear, really dislike of birds. So her reaction was to her very specifically. I was like, oh, that is really weird. And the poor bird was like flying all in the car. This is a sedan. So just to be clear, it's not like the open hatchback of an SUV. Like this is like a small car and only the car door was open. So then all of a sudden it's flying around and it flies out the car door and stands on the ground near me and just kind of looks at me and flies away. And I smile, and Lila's like, I can't believe there was a bird and it came in the car and it pooped in the car. And she was like, it was like the craziest thing. And I said, yeah, that is so crazy that it means something. And she's like, what? I go, the fact that that happened, what is the sign? Like, let us take a moment because that is meaningful. And so we sat there and I was like, I know what it means for me, but maybe like, what do you think it means for you? And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, for me, it was the clear sign that I'm supposed to be a free bird, that it is now my chance to fly and to experience the things that I love and to not be scared of leaving my children behind in some way, or what does my identity mean without them in my life? What does it mean when motherhood is not the priority anymore? But that this is my moment. And it was so clear that that was the sign for me. For me, it was there's this open door and you need to just fly out and take advantage of it. And people say empty nesting, and I have always really disliked that saying because, again, similar to it's almost like another saying like midlife crisis. Empty nest. Somebody said free bird, and I was like, that is what it is because not only am I free birding, so are my children. They have the freedom to go figure out who the hell they are without me messing up their journey because I'm always inserting myself in what I think is right. So it's the beauty of all of us getting to Freebird when we have that big transition. And for me, that little moment of that bird stuck in the car and flying out right in front of us was like, this is huge. It was my Freebird moment. And I said to her, I said, Lila, I think when you feel trapped and things feel small, there's always an open door. And that was like her sign. So they were a little bit different, but I was like, the bird was there for both of us. Let's figure out the sign. And you just mentioning it and talking about freedom. And I couldn't help but share this beautiful nugget of a story around possibility and freedom and how we can use this time to figure out our calling and to figure out what makes us feel good and what brings us energy. What is it that we really want in our lives?
It's so important, and we have to be very um, open to the fact that the track that we live when we are in our 30s and 40s is a track of basically protection, um, making sure that we're protecting our home, we're protecting uh, our jobs, our career, making sure we're protecting our children. So we have this mentality of I'm second, everything else is first.
Yes.
And that takes a tear and wear on a person to the point that it gets you to the point that you don't even know what you like to do. There's so many people that you ask, what do you do for fun? And it takes them a real long time
Mm.
to be able to come up with something. I mean, that's why we have fun therapy, right? That they basically is to hone in on what is it that makes you particularly curated for you have fun. And that's part of this transition
Mhm.
is understanding how do you really like your eggs? Or are you making scrambled eggs because you've been doing it which is, I'm talking about myself now. You're making scrambled eggs because you've been doing it forever, because that's the easiest eggs to get everybody to eat without somebody complaining. But you really like sunny side up and really wet sunny side up. But you won't make that because if you make it, everybody goes, ew, that looks nasty.
No one will eat it. Oh, that's good.
But that's an example of what we give up. What
Mhm.
we give up to create quiet, to create no type of friction. We live our whole lives trying to avoid friction. And
Yeah.
then there we are. Whatever it is, there we are, and we're at a point in our lives. And sometimes it's not taking a kid to college. Not everybody has kids.
No.
But sometimes is that birthday candle that freaks you out. And it's that hard birthday, whatever number it is. And I know that everybody has a number that triggers them. I'm coming up on a number that's going to trigger me, and I know it. And it's a month away. It's several months away, and I'm just like, oh. But anyway, I'm fine. I'm fine. But, but there's always something that makes you have to self-reflect, and that's when you have to say, okay, what am I going to do with the next parcel of time in my life? So it's my life. My complete life. That when I wake up excited about doing something. And when I talk to people, I don't talk to people about my job, but I talk to people about my joy.
Oh, I
What is
love that.
it? Yeah.
I love that idea. And one of the things you said that I loved is we've talked about ease and easeful. And I just want to double down on the fact that the scrambled egg story is so beautiful because in that moment, yeah, it made good sense for you to choose what was easeful, right? Because that's the world in which you were in. And you're right. What we're saying is, okay, now the world is shifting for you. Like it is your time. And how beautiful to instead of having people, and I say people with the quotes, people judge you that it's a crisis time. Yeah, I want us to create that bandwagon of people who celebrate that it's your time now to let easefulness be layered with joy and let those things go together rather than easefulness to remove friction, easefulness to lean into something that feels really good. And sometimes I give people who are sort of in this moment in life who don't know and are a little bit like, I don't really know. This little exercise in the Japanese culture, they have something called ikigai. And if you've heard of it, and I hope I'm saying it right. If I'm not, forgive me, but that's my instinct is to call it the ikigai. And it is this idea that every human has a purpose and they live for their purpose. And so if you think about the ikigai, the exercise is to think about what are you good at? What does the world need? What can you get paid for? And what do you love to do? And there's something so incredible about just stepping back. I absolutely never did that exercise before around this time, right? To say, what do I love? I did the other things. What am I good at? What can I get paid for? Right? I'm not
Mhm.
even sure I added in what does the world need? Because now I would add in what does the world need? And for me right now, and here I am, gratitude. I think the world needs gratitude. And I feel pretty damn sure that part of my calling is to bring the world more gratitude through this podcast, through Gratitude Rocks, through some of the programs I'm developing, and getting that in front of people for the people that don't understand how gratitude can impact their lives. That wasn't something I did before this midlife time. I just did. I just need to make money. I need to provide. I need to achieve. There was nothing in that prior world about, and what I was good at, right? Because that was the what I was good at made me good at my job. So I think that was clearly part of it. But my choice around did I want to be doing it? Did it bring me some sense of purpose, some sense of fulfillment? No. So I do think this moment, this pause, this self reflection time is the time to add in the layer of what brings you joy and what do you love. And if you don't know, that's okay. Just start to notice. When are you at your happiest? Who are you surrounded by when your energy is up and you feel really good? What kind of work are you doing when you don't understand how the hours went by so fast? That 3 hours went by in what felt like 3 minutes. Those are the little like cues to you of what you love, what brings you energy, what gives you joy, and is there a way for you to integrate that into your life? And it doesn't have to be your job. And I think we've talked about this before. Just start doing those things, and then shifts will happen. And get yourself into a mode of experimentation and testing things out and doing the things you haven't done in a really long time. That then shifts and gets you into this new place where maybe your calling becomes something that you can actually see and touch and feel and understand and start to live into.
Absolutely. And when you start doing that, it actually helps you in everything in life. Because once you start working and understanding you, you will come with a full cup of positive energy. Because now your cup is about your purpose. Now your cup
Mm.
is filled with your joy. Now your cup is filled with gratitude. Now your cup is filled with empathy. All the goodness in you fills your cup. And when it spills, meaning when you're in a situation and you have to give, you're going to lean in with all that positivity. You're not going to lean in with negativity. And let's understand why this is called a crisis. This just came to me. And
Mm.
it's a crisis because we have been conditioned to not be validated. We have been conditioned to be as others expect us to be. We have not been conditioned to embrace ourselves and the things that make us happy, passionate, full of energy, positive. Every single thing that we have experienced in life has been a conditioning to conform. We've been told in kindergarten, okay, everybody sit down, fold your
Yes.
hands. Come on. No,
Yep.
no, nobody can move your hands like that. No, you need to fold them in front of you. We're conditioned to obey. So when all of a sudden your life shifts and it changes, or you have that opportunity to look into your own life and you, oh, wow, you don't know. So why did I go through that whole circle? Because you stated the call to action. Find out what it is. Ask yourself, what is it that brings me that energy that I cannot stop doing it? That is so exciting to me. And sometimes it may be silly to others. Who cares? Because
Yes.
it's
Okay.
not silly to you.
Yeah, so you went there.
Who
I had go
cares?
yeah. So
Go
there's
ahead.
2 things. I'm like, "Oh!" So the other piece when I was thinking about midlife crisis to midlife calling, and obviously I used myself as a sample to think about it, right? Because I do feel like mine is absolutely a calling. But one of the pieces of that was I stopped caring what people thought. I stopped worrying about whether or not I fit into what the expectations were of whatever activity I was in, the people I was with, etc. So I agree with you. This conformity. I mean, think about that. You would actually get in trouble. The uniqueness was, put down or actually sometimes even shamed if you were the person that stood out. Like that was what was noticed. So now I feel like there's two pieces. One, I want to say it's not easy to not care because we've been so conditioned. So it takes a lot of intention to go, you know what? I'm not going to surround myself with people that are more curious about, what I'm doing for a living than how I'm feeling on that day. Like, like, does it matter? Like, let's talk about me as the human, not just what I've achieved and where I live and all those kind of more surface level things that often are the first things people ask about. I'm
Hmm.
not interested in that. I call that like the cocktail party world. I'm like, I have no interest in cocktail party worlds. I have interest right now in deeper level connection, in understanding what people are really about. But that took time. So I would say to you, that's kind of one of the coolest parts of midlife calling, which is, yeah, stop caring so much and start to really trust your authenticity and your beautiful inner like joys, and lean into those and share those and be vulnerable about what you love, and that creates the deeper level connection. And I think that piece of not caring really does then allow you to find this this next phase. And I think you also, once you figured that out, you need to be the one who celebrates it in others. So same, to break the conformity, you need to be the one. And Neil and I do this a lot. We're constantly like, we're dancing, we send each other things that are very about empowerment. If Neo has something that she's excited about, like I join her in that passion and excitement, and we move together in celebration of that. And I think that's going to be important too, right? We want to create this other element that says, when I see your uniqueness, when I see your vulnerability, when I see you owning what's important to you, I am right there by your side, cheering you on and celebrating it. I am not judging you. I am not having any kind of a commentary about what your choice is. And I think that piece ends up becoming so incredibly important. How do we really lift people up when they show their uniqueness or some vulnerability? And um, I love being a part of that. I want a groundswell of people to be in that space. And actually, that's kind of what I'm trying to do, surround myself with people who groundswell celebrate each other for when we don't conform and when we really start to figure out who we are and what we love, and we start sharing that with the world.
Totally agree. And that's what humanity is about. I think about, even in this conversation, the whole term of the crisis, and how people do understand that everybody has a little bully in them.
Mhm.
They do not know that they are bullies, but they all have a little bully in them. Because when when you start understanding who you are, and you're coming with that fresh spirit of ownership and positive energy, unbeknownst to them, you are a threat. It's not a conscious thing, but it happens because all of a sudden you're not the norm.
Mhm.
And I realized that I was at an event that was a senior leader event. And we were waiting for the doors to open. Everybody came a little early, and everybody was talking about where they went on vacation. And the group all were going to New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and so on. And they were dropping names. It was like the name dropping, moment and the whole thing. And there I was. That's not where I vacation. And it was really interesting how, when someone even noticed I was standing there, but asked me, "Oh, where do you vacation?" And I answered, we usually go to Europe or we go to the Caribbean. The bully started to bite. You don't appreciate America, you this, and it was interesting. And I remember just saying, "Hey, we just do things a little bit different. Of course I do. I've been to some of the places you mentioned, but it's such a big world. I want to explore it." You want to know what was exciting? Someone came that I didn't even notice was listening to the conversation, but it was adjacent to us, came over and elevated me.
Mm.
You will have people come against you as you go through this transition. And I think that that's important that we talk about that.
Mm.
But what you stated, the elevation of us, one to another, excited about and curious about the differences that we bring to the table, the different lens, the different feel. That's when it makes it awesome. And that, believe it or not, that person that came and started cheering me on, two of the people that were in that group that were bullying me later wanted to go on vacation to Malta, and they called me, "Where should we go?" Which was great,
Yes.
because guess what happened? That's that stickiness of let's bully got cut,
Yes.
right?
And I have compassion for those people who went there because that's the norm. The norm is like, to get into that space. So it's actually, if we can be compassionate to when it happens, but still break the pattern, celebrate each other, really lift each other up. I think that's really what it's all about, showing that compassion and doing that. And I do feel like one of the things I get a lot of comments on, and maybe you do too, about from our listeners is our energy. Gosh, you guys have such good energy, or your energy, bounces off each other so beautifully. And I also get comments lately since my midlife calling. People comment on my energy a lot. It's really interesting. It's like, I love your energy. I love being around you. And what I'm realizing is, I think it's just because I am finally really confident in who I am and what I love. And it doesn't mean I don't have good days and bad days, but like generally speaking, like I really do believe I am to bring gratitude to this world. I believe that I'm showing up as the best human I can. I work hard to do that now. And I think people can feel it energetically in me and they want it for themselves. And so, what Neo and I are here to say today is you too can have it. You just have to let go of some of that conformity. You have to trust in yourself that the things that bring you joy, you need to do more of. And you need to celebrate when you see people. And that's part of what it is. When people tell me they love my energy, they are doubling down for me on staying in this space. They are helping me not have any second guessing and just know, wow, if people are feeling my energy, this is the right place for me to be. So we need to
Yeah,
do that for each other and say stuff out loud and celebrate and lift up those of us that have decided to understand what our calling is and see this time in our lives as opportunistic and full of possibility. And we won't know immediately what it is. Sometimes, we have to play around, but that's it. Can we be playful in trying to understand what it is that we are now free to choose to do with our lives?
totally. And also let's be respectful of those that are not there yet. And let's
Yes.
make sure that we understand that everybody is in a different place in their journey. But there's something beautiful about being the example, modeling the behavior that is about freedom, that is about self ownership. That comes with respect, that comes with empathy, and
Mm.
treating those that don't get you with love and joy and compassion. So, yes, others may say you're in crisis, and you could say, no, I'm really in my joy. And man, just take a minute and think about one thing that brings you joy.
Mhm.
Give them a call to action so that they can maybe get a glimpse for a minute. But any way you look at it, we're not here to judge anybody. We're here to elevate each other. We're here to give openly to each other because this journey is hard, but it's the only one we got. So
Mm.
we got to make the best of it.
Well said.
And thinking of that, I'm doing something a little different. I am going to, instead of my usual one song, I'm actually going to go with an album. And I have to look it up again. I wrote it out. So, William Taylor is an acoustic guitarist who does
Mm.
country, but innovative country. And he has a wonderful album that's an album. Isn't it funny that I go into the old vernacular? Anyway, it's Time Indefinite. And if you listen to that, you will find that the series of songs in there will uplift you and give you a sense of freedom.
Mm.
And it automatically makes you smile. when you listen to this selection of music. So thank you, William Tyler, for Time Indefinite. Let's see what we have with Gratitude Rocks.
So, Nio, I too am going to do a little different today, and I am going to add a song because
Ooh.
I know when I was thinking about this topic, all I could think about was this idea of elevation that we talked about and finding your
Mhm.
people. And that I think when you don't care and when you start to not conform, you will find your people. And there's an incredible song called Find Your People. And it's
Ah,
by Drew Holcomb and the Neighbors. And it is so upbeat. And when I am having a down day and I sometimes feel judged or I just think, oof, I just listen to that song. So I literally was like, oh, I've got to put a song in. And yeah, so check that out as well. And I just had to add that. So we
that's
were
awesome.
both feeling
I love the
experimental today.
neighbors.
I
I love the
so good.
neighbors. So
So
that's
good.
cool.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay. It's this beautiful purple kind of
Almost looks like a
galactic.
heart.
Yeah, oh yeah, it does actually. And you
Yeah.
will not believe, but the word is easeful, which we just talked about in this episode itself. And that honestly, in all moments of our lives, in all parts of the journey, right? Maybe when you were raising a family or in a hard space, it made total sense to scramble the eggs. I mean, it did. That was the most easeful thing. And it was really the right thing at that time. And now, is there a way for us in our midlife calling to choose something more easeful that really brings us joy and lets us remember what we love? So kind of unbelievable, but not surprising. Easeful.
This has been a fun episode because it's an episode of the reality of our lives. Our journey is one that keeps moving and keeps changing just like flow. But more importantly, your calling is in you. We all have one. Glide with us and start being curious about you with joy and gratitude. See you next time.